Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, we're going to be going over a unique item that is new to Diablo 4 for Season 5. And this one is the Endurant Faith. And I kind of hesitated on the new because this is not really something that is new. It is basically the exact same thing that we had in Diablo 3, if you are remembering. I know, you guys are like, you, Diablo 3. If there was a jewel or a power, I can't remember the exact name of it, but basically it was a power that made it so that when you took a big old damage hit, it would instead take that damage and it would distribute it as a damage over time to your character to basically kind of prevent your character from dying. So let's say, for instance, that I have currently 19,355. Well, it's going to take like 19,355. Like if I get one shot, like say I get hit for 20,000 damage, it's going to take that 20,000 damage and it's going to distribute it over the next 2 seconds. Now, of course, if we use like Diablo 2 calculations, which would be kind of silly, but let's use Diablo 2 calculations, which would be 50 frames. That's going to be not times. We want division. There you go, division. 50 frames is going to be approximately 400 damage per frame over those 2 seconds. So you're going to take 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, and it's just going to continually drain that HP down. And this does, of course, require that the hit actually come in and smack you for more than 40% of your HP. So if you do have like a ridiculously large amount of HP, like say you're a character that just happens to have, like 100,000 HP. I'm looking at you, barbarians. Probably not for you, because there's probably not a lot of characters in the game that are even going to hit you for that much HP and damage. This is really something that you would want for characters that are maybe more in the mediocre to low range in HP, and it's definitely going to give you a huge boon against those monsters that are going to come in and just like smack the ever-living crap out of you and kill you. Now, this is not going to be useful in most of the game, though. So if you're like down in HellTide and you're fighting monsters, you're probably not going to get much use out of this in HellTide, because like as you get your character's damage and your resistances up and things like that, most of the monsters aren't going to hit you for 40% of your maximum life. Let's talk about the other stats on the item as well, though. So we also have 38 all stats, so 28 to 42 all stats, which is not bad. Those are great for getting your Paragon nodes activated. A 638 to 873 maximum life. 873 seems to be a pretty standard amount these days. Also 6 to 8% lucky hit chance, and a healing received of 25% bonus maximum. The other thing about this modifier, though, is that it also instead of distributed over the next 2 seconds and reduced by 30% times. So it's not going to be an exact formula of returning that damage to you. It depends on the multiplier that you have here. Obviously, it can get reduced by 10% or 30%, but it's going to take that original hit and it's going to reduce it by a little bit before it returns it back to you as a damage over time. Now, this still means that you've got to out heal it, and there definitely are some things that we can do without that. But let's talk about the on hit of the flavor text real quick. So, despite the light's blessings, countless knights penitent were hewn apart by the infernal hordes. Remnants of their steel lie scattered through the hells, dwindling lights in the chaos. So if you're a kind of character who wants to prevent getting one-shot, you don't like being one-shot, I don't like being one-shot. Honestly, I think this game has far too many one-shots in it to begin with. This might be the item for you, because what this is going to do is it's just going to prevent you from being one-shot. Now, you're still going to have to find a way to counter the actual damage that's being done to you, and damage over time can be countered in a myriad of ways. Obviously, you can have damage reduction, which is definitely going to help. Damage reduction is going to help kind of like flatten that out a little bit. On top of this, you can also heal yourself. I would strongly recommend, honestly, if you're going to use this one, that you probably are going to need the Undying aspect, which is going to give you a 2% life heal for every single time you use an ability, which is going to be pretty massive. You could also potentially use life on hit and life per second to counter this as well. And if you have other ways to heal yourself, like potentially if you are utilizing something like the Druid Paragon nodes, like the Masochistic, which give you a 5% heal based on, like your critical strike chance, and it's basically a lucky hit bonus. There's also other things that you can do to give yourself heals in the game, like for instance on the skill tree on the Druid, there is this passive, which is Nature Magic Skills, it consumes Spirit, heal you for 3% of your maximum life, which is going to be a pretty nice boon for you. In general, if you try, you can totally cancel out most, if not all, of the effect of the big gigantic hits that come in and dish out massive amounts of damage over time to you. You can also use immunity to kind of just like stop them from ticking for small periods of time, like for instance Flame Shield. Barriers can be used to consume it as well, so casting things like Earthen Bulwark or using Temerity with this would be highly potent, because Temerity also gives you a barrier when you heal, which would actually be massive with this particular item, because of course if you were to tag in Undying, Endurant Faith, and a Temerity, that would be an absolutely solid combo to create a pretty much unstoppable level of barrier activation to counter any kind of damage that you might potentially take, increasing your HP pool massively. You could also potentially even combine in something like the new Soul Brand. I know, gasp. The new Soul Brand is actually ridiculous. If I do get my hands on it, I will show it to you, but it's definitely been buffed up dramatically. I think I had a Soul Brand earlier, and it was so bad, it was so ugly, that I'm pretty sure I just threw it away. Because it was just really that bad. Now, Endurant Faith is one of the new uniques that comes from the Infernal Hells. You can find it in other places, and I have found it from just regularly playing the game, but it does also come from the new Infernal Hells game mechanic, which you're going to need compasses for. You do need to follow the season quest line to do that. I do think also Infernal Hells is available for the Eternal Realm players too, so this one should be in there. This item is a good addition, I feel like. For a lot of people who've played this game for a long time, back since Season 0 and even before, I feel like a lot of us have had one enduring complaint about Diablo 4, which is that things can just randomly one-shot you. And there's not much you can do about it. You are walking along, you're fighting monsters, you're doing just fine, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're dead. With little or no warning or, like, understanding as to why. And I mean, this is just what happens when you're utilizing items or a game that has like so many multipliers and crazy things going on, right? So having something like this in the game that can potentially make it so that you're not going to die instantaneously is going to be massive. Now, one thing I have noticed, because I have tested this out, is that when you get hit with one of these big giant hits, your health pool is going to turn green, like you've been poisoned, but it's not poison. Right? It's the damage over time that's being applied by the Endurant Faith. So when you see your HP pool turn green with this and there's no poison present, then there's a very good chance that you have been hit for more than 40% of your life, and you probably would have died, and the Endurant Faith has saved you. And now it's your responsibility to cancel out, obviously, that giant damage over time effect that it has put on you. I think that's pretty much it. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these fun videos. I'm going to be going over quite a few of the 1.5.0 uniques, as well as a lot of the changes. So I do hope you'll join me for the rest of these. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and keep watching.